At some point, you probably can't name the exact moment, something shifted. Your dog stopped being a pet and became something harder to define. Someone you talk to at the end of a hard day. Someone who makes the apartment feel less empty. Someone whose presence on a bad morning can change the texture of the whole day. If you've ever felt slightly embarrassed by how much this animal means to you, by how the thought of losing them hits somewhere real, this video is for you. Because what you're feeling isn't sentimentality, it isn't projection, and it isn't you treating an animal like a person in some misguided way. It's biology, and the science behind it is one of the most surprising and beautiful stories in all of animal behavior. In 2025, researchers at Sloran University in Budapest published a study that asked a deceptively simple question: how does our relationship with our dog actually compare to our closest human relationships? They asked more than 700 people to rate the quality of their bond with their dog, their child, their partner, their closest relative, and their best friend, across dimensions like support, companionship, conflict, and satisfaction. The results showed that owners reported greater satisfaction with their dogs than with any human partner, except their child. The researchers concluded that the owner-dog relationship is most similar to the parent-child relationship, but can overall be interpreted as a mix of child and best friend relationships, combining the positive aspects of the child relationship with the lack of negative aspects of friendship. Read that again. The emotional closeness of a child, the ease of a best friend, and almost none of the friction that comes with either. The researchers put it plainly: dogs occupy a unique place in our social world, offering the emotional closeness of a child, the ease of a best friend, and the predictability of a relationship shaped by human control, revealing why our bonds with them are often so deeply fulfilling. This is not wishful thinking, this is data.
Now here's the part where the science gets genuinely remarkable. You know that feeling when your dog looks at you, really looks at you, not asking for anything, just looking? There's something in that moment that's hard to name. Scientists named it, and what they found changed how we understand the human-dog bond entirely. When dogs and their owners gaze into each other's eyes, both experience a surge in oxytocin, the same hormone that bonds human mothers to their infants. The dog's gaze increases oxytocin in the owner. The owner, flooded with oxytocin, becomes more affectionate, more petting, more eye contact. That interaction then raises oxytocin levels in the dog, which leads to more gazing. A loop, a biological conversation conducted in eye contact that neither species consciously controls. Wolves, even wolves raised by humans from birth, don't do this. This loop appears to be something dogs developed specifically through their long history alongside us. It was not inherited from their wild ancestors. It was built over thousands of years in the space between two species learning to live together. When your dog looks at you, they're not just looking. They're doing something that no other animal on Earth does quite the same way. They're activating a system in your brain designed for the deepest kind of love. It doesn't stop at hormones. Neuroscientists at Emory University trained dogs to lie still inside fMRI scanners, brain imaging machines, and presented them with different scents: their owner's scent, a familiar human scent, a stranger's scent, another dog's scent. When the dogs detected their owner's scent, a specific region of the brain lit up, the caudate nucleus, the area associated with reward, anticipation, and positive emotions. It was the same region that activates when humans experience things they love. From the other direction, when mothers were shown photographs of their children and then photographs of their dogs, the same brain regions associated with emotion, reward, and social bonding were activated by both. The same network, the same warmth, in response to two very different beings. This is not metaphor.
The love you feel for your dog and the love a parent feels for a child are processed, at least in part, by the same neural architecture. Not identical, but overlapping in ways that tell us something important about what this bond actually is.
Here's the part of the research that surprised even the scientists. When the Budapest team looked at how people's relationships with their dogs connected to their relationships with other humans, they expected to find a compensation effect, that people who struggled socially would lean more heavily on their dogs to fill the gap. That's not what they found. Instead, stronger bonds with dogs correlated with stronger bonds with other humans. People who had rich, close relationships with their dog also tended to have rich, close relationships with people. We expected that people with weak human relationships would rely more on their dogs for support, but our results contradict this, the researchers wrote. What this suggests is something genuinely hopeful. The capacity for deep connection, once cultivated in any relationship, doesn't stay contained there. It spills over. Dogs don't replace human bonds, they seem to expand the bandwidth for love altogether. This bond didn't happen by accident. It took a very long time. Dogs began diverging from wolves somewhere between 15,000 and 40,000 years ago. The estimates vary. And what happened over that stretch of time is unlike anything else in the history of domestication. Dogs evolved not just to tolerate human presence, but to actively seek it, to read human faces, to follow human gestures, to gaze in ways that wolves, even hand-raised wolves, never developed. They also evolved, researchers discovered, a small facial muscle that wolves completely lack, one that raises the inner eyebrow and makes their eyes appear larger, rounder, more infant-like. This muscle triggers something deep in the human caregiving instinct. It's not manipulation, it's co-evolution. Dogs changed their faces to speak to something in us, and we responded. What emerged from all of this is not a pet and its owner. It's something stranger and more beautiful. Two species that spent tens of thousands of years becoming essential to each other, that built across that time a shared biochemistry of connection, that wired each other into the same systems that govern love. So the next time you feel something large and difficult to explain, when your dog looks at you across the room, or when they fall asleep pressed against you like you were the only solid thing in the world, know that what you're feeling has a name, it has a chemistry, it has a history measured in thousands of years. You are not projecting, you are not being dramatic, you are experiencing something real, something that two species built together, slowly, over more time than we can properly imagine. And your dog? When they look at you, the same thing is happening on their side of the loop. That's not nothing. That's actually everything.